Hi guys, this is FM Scout. I am Football Manager Zone, and today we're continuing the series of Into the Future whilst we look at Marco Asensio. But first, let me point you in the direction of my YouTube channel. Looking for a brand new series to watch on YouTube? Look no further than my Blades of Glory series with Sheffield United. The link is in the description. And if you could drop a sub on that channel, that would be much appreciated. So let us have a look closer at Marco Asensio, a 20-year-old Spanish under-21 international. He's played one time for the international team as well. Currently valued at £13.5 million, but we have to look at his attributes. They are amazing. Technically, this kid is probably as good as I've seen them at 20 years of age. Great corner taking, 16, dribbling, 17, first touch, 17, 18 for technique, passing is 16. If you move into his mental, he could do better mentally, but flair of 17, I mean, obviously that's close to 20. That's probably as close as most players will ever get. Physically, he's quite physical as well. Natural fitness of 15, pace of 15, agility and acceleration both at 15. A fairly determined personality traits. He likes to curl the ball. He likes to cut inside from both wings and runs with the ball often. He can play right, left and centre behind the striker. So he is, at 20 years of age, going to be one hell of a player. He's also wanted by Manchester City. Looking at his Real Madrid contract as well, obviously the first thing I looked at was unused substitute fee. Nearly £2,000 if he doesn't get on. £2,000 to sit on his backside for an hour and a half. You can give me that, yep. £14,250 a week. £56 million release fee. I'm sure that's going to get snapped up sooner rather than later. Loyalty bonus of £525,000. So yeah, he's on a fairly good contract at just 20 years of age. Now in the year 2020, Marco has made the move to Manchester United. He's 24 years old. His crossing has gone up by 1 point. Natural fitness has gone up by 1 point. Stamina and strength have both gone up. Stamina's gone up quite a bit since he was at Real Madrid. He's had more caps for the under-21s. He's now on 30 caps for the under-21s. And he's got an additional cap for Spain. He's also added a player trait into his repertoire. He now places shots. He's also been changed to a flamboyant attacking midfielder, and he's still very determined. His contract with Manchester United is also insane. I pointed out the unused substitute fee at Real Madrid. It's now £10,000. It was nearly 2, now it's 10. So it's 5 times as much as what it was with Real Madrid. It's on £81,000 a week. A loyalty bonus of £2.1 million was paid to him when he joined Manchester United. And he's here, allegedly, until the summer of 2024. But we know contracts are only worth the paper they're written on these days. So whilst his media description hasn't changed, he's still a world-class attacking midfielder. He has moved to Arsenal, where, despite him being now 29, some of his attributes have grown. Technique, free kick taking and anticipation have all gone up since his move to the Emirates. He's now on £130,000 a week. Valued at £28.5 million. His caps for Spain have improved. He's played 33 times for the national team now. He's also scored 4 goals in that time. So yeah, his move to the Emirates has made him a better player. Already mentioned the £130,000 a week fee. Loyalty bonus is £6 million. That can't be too bad, can it? He also gets a bonus if he's in the team of the year. The unused substitute fee this time around was only £6,500. So Arsenal are probably more inclined to put him on the bench. But then he is 29 years old, so he probably will start from the bench a bit more. So yeah, a fairly good contract for a 29-year-old. So after Marco's stay at Arsenal, he moved on to Napoli. He's 34 years of age now, only on the £74,000 a week. but some of his attributes have dropped. The dribbling has dropped from 16 to 13. Technique only dropped 1 point down to 18. So it's back where he was when he was at Manchester United. He is now described as an experienced attacking midfield player. You may also notice that he can now play in defensive midfield. So he's added a string to his bow since he's been at Arsenal and has come here. He can also play midfield, left and centre now. So he can play right across the midfield and behind the striker. So it makes him a very, very versatile player at 34 years old. His contract with Napoli is also a little less than what it was at Arsenal. He only got the £600,000 for signing on. $3,700 for the used substitute fee. $150,000 if he's in the team of the year. Goal bonus and appearance fees, they're there as well. $74,000 a week. He also, if he completes 25 games, he gets offered a 1-year extension to his contract, which is fairly handy for a 34-year-old. And at 36 years of age, Marco Asensio decided it was time to call it a day. He made 48 appearances for Spain, scoring 5 goals. He wants to be the head of youth development, which I think is an interesting one. Obviously a player that's come through the Real Madrid academy. You know, it's interesting that he wants to take on the role of bringing other players through the academy. Obviously, his coaching stats are fairly good. Attacking a 13, fitness of 14, mentally 12, technical 14, adaptability 14 and determination 15. Bearing in mind he has played in England and in Spain. Obviously, he can also be a coach, an assistant manager. He wants to be a manager potentially one day. Preferred system of 4-4-1-1. Likes to play the direct style. Likes to be technical with his coaching. Obviously, he's a Spaniard. That's not a surprise. Player mentality, he wants them to attack. He wants pressing style to be mixed and marking to be mixed. So that's okay. You know, he doesn't like the zonal marking and he doesn't like the man-to-man marking. He's still a fairly determined character as well. So now he's at the end of his career. Let's look back at what he won. With Real Madrid, he was a FIFA Club World Cup winner in 2016. Moving on to his time with Manchester United, the most notable things to point out, obviously, are the 3 league championships, 2 EFL Cups, and 3 Community Shields. So he had a fairly successful time at Manchester United. But not as successful as he had with Arsenal. He won 1 Premier League title, the Champions League, the FA Cup twice, and the EFL Cup. He also won a couple of Community Shields as well, which I think is a good thing. Even with Napoli, at the twilight of his career, he was still winning trophies, or a trophy. He won their version of the FA Cup in 2028. Sadly with Spain, he didn't have a lot of success. In 2027, he was a runner-up with the UEFA League of Nations. So looking at Marco's career as a whole, he went for £65 million, or just over £65 million. He made 521 appearances overall, scoring 74 times, assisting 73. He was a player of the match also on 34 occasions. The most notable thing I think to pick out from there is his average rating. Now, his average rating is just over 7, which when you consider he has played 521 games competitively, that is a hell of an achievement for a player to hit a 7 rating. Finishing looking up at Marco's career, he scored his first international goal against the Ukraine. He made his international debut against Bosnia and Herzegovina. Obviously he played in a few countries, so he was fluent in 3 languages. So finally, to round off the video, we're looking at his attributes overall. So we've got all 4 clubs that he came to, starting off with Real Madrid, Manchester United, Arsenal, Napoli. So the most notable things to pick out is that he actually had an upturn in the change of his attributes when he moved to Arsenal. Not uncommon. Obviously, a player generally peaks at around about 29 years old. That's when they reach the top of their game and then they start to decline from there. That's when his technique improved. That's when his free kick improved. But obviously Real Madrid gave him a great base to start from. You know, they trained him very, very well. Manchester United improved on that still. As I said, Arsenal then took that to the next level before Napoli, where he just ended up plateauing out in the end. But by the time he reached Napoli, he still had plenty of dark green attributes, which when he got to 34 years of age, I think most players who are playing today would want 17 flair, technique of 18 at 34. You know, he had a stellar career. I was so impressed with the stats that he had. You know, looking at the attributes that he's got, he's ended up with. You know, I'm chuffed for him. I really am. If you've enjoyed this look at Marco Asensio's career, if you've liked the video, please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to the FM Scout channel already, please do so. Also, please don't forget to check out fmscout.com for all your Football Manager needs. I have been the Football Manager Zone. This has been FM Scout into the future. And we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.